South Sudan is one of the world's poorest countries. It has very few resources, and so it has very little in terms of money to spend on anyone, let alone someone with disability.
This is Stephen Martin, a disability specialist working for the Scottish Catholic International Aid Fund, otherwise known as SCIAF.
So those who are born with a disability are really at the bottom of the pile. It's tough. It's totally tough.
For the majority of people living in South Sudan, AI, apps and audio glasses are another world away. So when I was asked to make a piece about the role of technology in supporting people in the world's poorest places, I wasn't sure where to begin.
Life in South Sudan is very hard for people with disabilities.
I'd been put in touch with Alfred, who was one of the people SCIAF supports in South Sudan. He is also blind.
It's really hard for people with disabilities to find work so that we can help ourselves.
I then asked him how technology might be able to help.
If we are taught how to use Braille, our lives in South Sudan could really change.
Rebecca, one of SCIAF's local partners, continued.
Braille opens a door for education and social interaction for visually impaired persons and communities and provides a permanent opportunity for people in South Sudan.
Braille has been around for more than 200 years. Unfortunately, it's something SCIAF has been able to provide to a number of communities in South Sudan, thanks to funding by the UK government. But would we really consider Braille a technological solution to support people with disabilities? Not really. But in South Sudan, this old technology is clearly making a difference. So, what about AI, apps and audio glasses then? I asked Stephen if these modern technologies would have a role to play in his work in the future.
Technology that we have is amazing, but I think within a South Sudan context, they don't have access to anything like the same technology. Almost every one of us has a smartphone that can do multiple tasks. I'm yet to see a smartphone in a rural setting in South Sudan. They don't have internet. If you're lucky enough to live in a place where you could access internet, it's prohibitively expensive. Any internet-based technology that would help is just inaccessible.
Like Alfred, Veda has also been supported by SCIAF in South Sudan.
It started with a headache one day. My leg was hurting and I was taken to the clinic. That's when my leg started to go numb.
Veda was just 16 at the time. There was no proper medication available for her. She was paralysed, couldn't walk, and could only sit in one spot until someone helped her move on.
SCIAF came to help me and took me through different exercises until I began to regain feeling in my legs.
In addition to the exercises, Veda received life-changing equipment, including crutches and a tricycle that she uses to move around her village. She thought she would never walk again, but today Veda can now even take steps unaided. Okay, so could you just tell me your name and your role at SCIAF?
My name is Kira Commons and I'm the contract manager for the Climate Just Communities programme in Rwanda. I guess the way we view disabilities is the disability is an impairment and the impairment is not an issue unless the environment is not conducive to it. So if the environment was fully accessible, the impairment wouldn't necessarily be a barrier. So in the places we work with, particularly in Rwanda, the environment is a big issue. This terrain is incredibly steep, so it's really steep terrain. The roads are often unsurfaced so that they can be quite bumpy. The communities we work with have experienced a lot of flooding and landslides, so there's been a lot of damage to their houses. So if you have a disability, particularly say like a physical disability, Just even moving around the place is really difficult. I think low-tech solutions are so important and they can really change a person's life. So basic things like having access to a white cane if you've got a visual impairment, also access to a wheelchair that has quite robust wheels because the train is quite tricky, and even things like having walking frames.
A picture is emerging that yes, technology has a role to play in supporting people with disabilities in low-income settings. But forget AI. Older technologies like providing braille, providing prescription glasses or wheelchairs are likely to be much more impactful in these places. And of course, technology alone will never be the complete solution to any global challenge. I'll leave the final word to Kira.
I think what's important, I think how SCIAF works is this community-based approach. And I think that's really important for finding people that are marginalised, because people that have disabilities can often be hidden away and stigmatised. You really need to have a good partnership approach in your programme to actually even just reach the people and build their relationship and build a trust with them, so then you can work with them holistically. So I think sometimes when we approach these things, we don't recognise that people that have disabilities are often so marginalised you may not even know that they are there, or they may be quite hidden, and that's an important barrier to break down in the first step.